How'd you get involved with the dance scene in Vegas?
So they had a dance team, like an all-male dance team program in Coronado. And they never had that in Chicago. Like I would think that they had like some sort of dance integrated into the school program, but it was just more clubs still.
Yeah, makes sense.
But then when it came out to Vegas, they were like, oh, they have a dance team. And I'm like, okay, it's probably just all girls. Because that's what I was used to. And then
that's more or less what you see in Vegas too.
And then they were like, no, it's an all-male dance team. I'm like, oh, I've never heard of that before. Like where I'm from in Chicago, they don't do that. Or at least they don't really pay attention and push it. So it's part of like a team sport more so than a club. Yeah. But in Coronado they did. So it was a PE credit. I'm like, well, what am I doing PE first class in the day? Like that's rough.
I'd rather dance.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I'd rather dance the sixth period than first period PE.
Yeah.
So I took that credit and then started doing choreo from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did that in choreo in school. How did you get in it? Because obviously school, back then in 2011, 2012, school was different than the actual Vegas dance scene. Yeah. In my personal opinion. So how did that integration happen?
So that integration happened when I became a senior.
Okay.
I auditioned for Mekami.
Oh,
this
the
is where
OG
it hits.
crew.
Yeah, this is where it hits right here. Yeah, so Mekami made in 2003.
Okay,
and they had been around in the
they OG
scene.
bro.
Yeah.
Mekami's the OG. Yeah. Like if I'm not mistaken, besides Culture Shock, from my understanding, I might be wrong. Yeah. But 2003 was like the first like real choreo crew in Vegas. Yeah. Was Mekami.
Yeah, Mekami.
Because you had Mekami, and then if I'm not mistaken, right after that, I just talked to Troy yesterday. Yeah. Was High Profile. Yeah. And then right at that time, Mecca created Hypnotics. Yeah. And then you had Culture Shock. Yeah. And from my understanding, like 2003 to 2006, that was like the first couple ones. Yeah. And then everybody else came after.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I remember.
Like we had B-boy crews and we had freestyle crews in Vegas. Everybody was a freestyler and a B-boy. And like Crump like came in like early 2000s. But choreo, that's the first I heard of. Yeah. So you were definitely in an OG crew for sure.
Heck yeah. So that's how that happened. Okay. My cousin actually was on that team at the time, even before I had moved to Vegas, and she was already talking about it while I was still living in Chicago. So she was like, when you come out here, you're going to come and audition for Mekami. And so I did do that in 2011. I just first got here. I knew nobody. And I auditioned. Of course, the choreography, like there's still some videos out there, and the choreography, it looked bad, man. It looked all bad. Like,
hey, we got to start somewhere.
We got to start somewhere. And it's so like, when I see it, I smile, and like I used to cringe, but the cringe factor goes away now because I'm like, that's where it started, and it's like humbling to see the journey because of where I'm at now with that. But yeah, it started in 2011, and funnily enough, I'm actually doing a Mekami alumni video with them this month.
Let's go. And that's tight.
It had been like 6 years since I had, and I just reconnected with them like last month. I stepped into that studio and like all those memories started rushing in. Oh yeah. And for me, it just makes me humbled to like see where I came from, and the fact that there's still such a big support foundation within them still.
Yes.
And
that's great when it comes down to Mekami. Like, one thing I can say coming from a freestyle side, because I never was like, besides learning a couple classes with Hypnotics, like I was never a part of a choreo crew. Yeah. Like I'm a part of Dope Show now, but I'm so integrated with the Crump world that it's hard for me to be consistently training with them. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But like outside of Hypnotics and Dope Show, I don't take choreo classes. Yeah. So, but anybody that's a freestyle dancer in this city, if they're involved, they know what Mekami is. Yeah. And that's what I mean by like, there's only a certain amount of crews that had a real strong foundation, and Mekami is one of them. When you hear Mekami, you literally know what it is. Yeah. It's 2023, and they've literally been a crew for 20 years now. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy.